Today I'm talking with a very special musical guest, Myles Bullen. Miles is a rap and hip hop artist from the East Coast, and he's got a very unique style because he's also a poet. In this interview, we talk about him starting to make money in the music industry, what he's trying to accomplish every time he gets on stage to perform, and what it's like having a song blow up on Spotify. Miles is a really cool, down to earth guy, and I had a lot of fun talking with him. Thanks for joining me, man. Really excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Randy.
So, what are you up to today, man? Not today, sorry. What are you up to these days with everything going on? How's it affected you?
I like the word. I like today. I'll start there. Today, I just went for a bike ride with some of my friends. My friend Rich, who is in his 60s, and then he has a daughter who is like 2 or 3, and we
Oh,
just took a
wow.
bike ride around the ocean and downtown, and it was just a really beautiful day. I've been drinking some jasmine green tea, and I dislocated my shoulder a couple days ago skateboarding. So it like dislocated and then relocated. But I'm gonna
Oh,
go get
man.
it checked out in a couple hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hopefully there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong
I mean
there.
it feels fine, but just to get it, just to make sure. Move my arms.
Yeah. So, have you been, I'm guessing you haven't been performing or anything like that. How has everything affected you? I know I've heard that you usually travel a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So last year, and which seems like decades ago, but last year I did
Yeah.
140 performances. So
Oh, man.
I traveled through like 33 states. I went to the Netherlands and toured around Amsterdam, and then I had 4 months of tour booked for this year. I'm supposed to go to Canada, into Colorado, the Midwest, and then that was all canceled. And so yeah, life has
Yeah.
been very different this year for me. I went from my like my routine was travel. My routine was like movement, constantly in movement, and meeting
Yeah.
new people. Meeting thousands of new people. Um, and so yeah, this year has definitely it's changed everything. It's changed the way like my mind works, the way like I sleep. The way my interactions with people are. Like this is a foreign thing. For me to be home this
Yeah.
often. So it's been taking a lot of adjusting. I also have been like grieving. I lost my grandfather in January. I lost my father in February, and then I lost 4 months
Oh,
of
man.
tour uh, in March.
Man, really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, man, no,
That's,
it's what it is. It's just very timely. A lot of things just like decided to stop. You know, for the whole world, and but for my small individual life, I had a lot of time this year to kind of reflect and start to zoom into what's really important to me and show up for myself. And it wasn't easy. It's still not easy, but I'm starting to like enjoy the space between events and between things happening. Because before
mhm.
this, it was just like interaction after interaction, and
Yeah.
it was just like
No
autopilot.
time to
Yeah, it was just
rest.
like autopilot. Like, oh, shaking hands, meeting new people,
Yeah. Yeah.
place to place. And now, like, I feel like I've done a couple live stream concerts, and I've seen some friends, but I'm not like social. I'm not like going out anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've found a new appreciation for like every interaction, and I'm a lot more present with people now because of how special it is to be with people. How special it is to like be at a show um, when I've gone this long without them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a tough year for sure. And really sorry to hear that, dude. Definitely. That, that must be tough. And your kind of your therapy for dealing with it is usually going out and performing, right? And that's something that you can't do now.
Yeah, I found like performance had you know when I first started going to concerts. was like 13, like high school, junior high school. And I remember finding like being in a crowd and going to a show was like the closest thing to like a spiritual experience I'd ever had. You know, like growing up as a kid, like my mom and my grandmother would bring me to church and things, but I never felt I never felt spiritual at a church. But when I went to a concert, I felt it. I felt connected to people in this way that was bigger than myself. And so I became obsessed with going to shows as a teenager. I went as often as possible. Anytime I could save money, I was buying concert tickets or buying merch from bands.
Yeah,
And I remember, yeah, just like kind of like idolizing the show, like being in a group of people.
that
And
makes sense. That's why you like to perform so much now, right?
yeah, and then yeah, I realized like I want to create spaces for people. I want to cultivate something inside of me that allows me to like open up a space and allow people to come and feel vulnerable together, essentially. Um, so yeah, so I'm obsessed with that feeling of being at shows and throwing shows and meeting new people and being on the road. That's definitely been a source of therapy for me. Like, so not having that, I've had to like readjust my lifestyle a lot. And that's also where I hang out with all my friends. Like that's another thing is like, you know, I don't know if you know about there's this term called state dependent learning, which they use for like children and people who are growing in and also people who have dealt with, you know, like certain addictions. That when you the state of mind you're in when you start learning or forming memories, for instance, if you like learn how to do something, you know, when you're high,
Hmm.
and then like when you're not high, you feel like you can't do that thing, or if you learn how to do something when you're like drinking heavily, um, and some of those things that we learn are like how to communicate with people, how to be vulnerable, how to like have conscious conversations. So it's like the state of mind you're in or the place that you're in, you practice so often that when you're not in that place, you almost lose that skill or you lose the easiness that you've built. You built like a skill around communicating or around any other thing. So I've built a lot of my friendships at shows. I've built a lot of my relationships with community, places where I feel good about myself and where I can share with
Hmm.
other
Yeah,
people in those
it's like a
spaces.
lifestyle, right?
Totally, yeah, yeah. It's like a thing that I did all the time. You know, I did it almost every day. So yeah, so there's that, like losing that, and then also losing almost like the expectation of doing something. Like you know, you form a goal or you have something to look forward to. It's like not knowing when that's gonna kind of be more normal. You know, like when I book a tour, it takes me 6 months to book a tour. So 6 months before the actual tour, I'm planning it, and then I do the tour, and then I start planning the next one. So it's like a full year of planning, executing, and then planning. And now I don't know what to plan for, and I'm not actually yeah. So now it's just like a whole different world. Like it's like I just
What to do, what
you
to
know
do.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
adapt to that.
What
It's weird.
what is that planning process like when you're going to all these places all over the world? Are you just like hitting up different places and scheduling dates to show up?
Yeah, it's a lot of different things. So like when I first started touring, it was the hardest.
Yeah,
You
I would
know,
imagine getting
it only
started.
gets easier. Yeah, you first start, you don't know
Hmm.
anybody, and nobody knows you unless you're just like randomly someone invests in you, which never happens to normal
Yeah,
people.
yeah. If you just called someone on the
um,
phone and were like, "Hey, can I come do a show at your place?" No
yeah.
thanks.
So yeah. So what happens is um, you just you find the people who are doing the thing that you're doing. So like for me, I was kind of in this indie rap cycle circuit. So like people who are not mainstream, maybe a little more like leaning on like abstract or like poetry, storytelling, folk centered, like singing, mixing genres in that way. So I would find artists that you know I like, and then I would figure out where they're touring, and then I would just like hit up those places, or I would just hit up artists that are similar to me and be like, "Hey, I'm coming through. Do you want to, can we work together on a show?" Um, and to have a place locally that when other artists are touring through, I can always book them, right? So if an artist hits me up and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to be touring through on this day. Can you help me get a show?" I'll have places locked down where I can assist with that, and I can bring in a local following for them. Um, so it's a lot of trade. It's just like any other sort of thing. It's like there's a worldwide community of people doing this that I've been able to connect to through the internet, just through similar sounds or similar styles. But I've also toured with people who do things that are way different than me. I've
Yeah.
toured with poets, I've toured with folk musicians, I've toured with a harpist, I've toured with a cello player. Like it doesn't matter, as long as the intention of like connecting with people is there, um, then I'll work with most people. And the more connections you make, the more opportunities you get.
Yeah, it's all about connections for sure. When you're going out to a performance, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it just have fun? Are you trying to make people feel better, or is there some deeper meaning behind it?
You know, I think it's a lot of different things. Right before, like when I'm booking a tour, my thought is like, how can I play as many days in a row as possible? And that's just a part of my like personal practice, trying to exercise the muscle of performing and of engaging with people. But when I'm actually at the show, when I'm right there, right before I'm about to do my thing, I just look at the people who are there and who are maybe closest or paying the most attention. And I kind of zoom in on them. So there's this theory of like, don't play for the people in the back of the room, play for the people who are up front. And I've been kind of honing in on that. So my idea is to give my attention, my expression, and my like energy to the people who are already there, who are already engaged, and give them my full attention. But at the same time, while doing that, I feel like that is what can cause the bridge from the people who aren't engaged and who don't want to be there or who aren't really excited about it to be curious and to kind of like step closer and start to pay attention.
Yeah,
I
draws
don't
them
make
in.
background yeah, I don't make background music. I don't make party music. So like there's a lot of places where I haven't been welcome. That there's a lot of
Oh, that's
places
tough.
where there'll be 150 people in the room, but maybe 10 people care. You know, and then in a big room, and but then in other situations I've been, in a space with 80 people and every single one of them care. So it all depends, but my intention is always the same. My intention is to connect to the people who are already engaged, and give them my full, like 110% of myself. And to display vulnerability in a way that makes it accessible to other people who may not feel comfortable being vulnerable as often. Um, yeah,
That's something that you're trying to accomplish is show your vulnerabilities so that other people can feel comfortable with theirs?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I remember listening to like rap music or listening to spoken word poets as a teenager. And I listened to a lot of metal music too, and um, alternative rock and stuff. And anytime I could hear a story that was like really deep, anytime I heard somebody talk about things that were uncomfortable and that were like real, usually about trauma or like getting through something really difficult, I always thought that was like like bravery. That's what I thought bravery meant. And when I saw other people do it, it gave me a sense of like possibility. Like I could do that too. Like I could, confront the things in my life that are difficult and like display them and actually release them and kind of take power over them instead of letting them take power over me. And by showcasing that, by exercising that, um, it also lends its power to other people. Like if other people feel like they can do what I'm doing, then you know, everyone feels better.
That's deep, man. That's definitely that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is because I could just like I could feel that in your music, man. I could feel like your personal feelings and emotions, and like it's definitely on display there. And yeah, it's definitely something that I can connect with personally. So I'm sure there's a lot of other people too.
Yeah, and it's not even about a lot of people. You know, if I've played shows for one person before, so it's like if I can get one person, if I can connect to one person at a performance or hear my song, then like that's a win. That's a success for me.
Yeah, that's a real artist. Did you ever think about doing anything else, or have you always just wanted to be a musician?
I've done a lot of things. I still do a lot of things. You mean for like
Do you make money full time from music?
I make I would say like yeah, I would say music is my full thing right now. The but it's very new. That's a very new evolution.
Oh, really?
I've been an independent artist. I've been like actively pursuing this, like doing shows for about 5 years. Um, and before that, I was like, doing dishes and prep cooking in restaurants and landscaping and doing carpentry, and I worked at the Olive Garden. I worked at Staples. I did all this weird
Yeah,
corporate stuff,
whatever you
and
got
then
to
I
do.
did yeah, and then I did a bunch of side gigs, and so I had like a lot of streams of income that were from those places. And then as I started pursuing music, um, some of those things just drifted away. Like I haven't worked in a restaurant, in over 7 years, which is a goal for me. I didn't want to work in food service anymore. So then I was doing like gardening half time and then like performing and selling music and merchandise the other half time. Um, and then up until like last year, I completely am like relying on making art. Making art is how I pay my bills. It's how I invest in things. It's how I move forward. But it's taken a long time, to get to that place. It started, I was making $0 at music, but I was still pursuing it full time. Like I was like working a 40 hours a week job, and then I was spending 60 hours a week working on art and working on connecting with people, working
Yeah,
on sending emails. So it was like I wasn't. Yeah, I was working like 100 hours a week.
it's working
You know,
nonstop. Yeah,
just working nonstop, and I still have that ethic of like even when I have everything covered, like there's always more to do. There's always more places to be, or more connections to make, more records to make. So it's trying to apply the same work ethic you would if you were working for someone else, but I'm doing it for myself. So that's where like the discipline comes in, where I have to be like, um, I have to be my own boss. I have to like make sure I get things done if I want to continue this lifestyle. Because it's risky. I mean, most people don't do it. Most people don't take the risk to
yeah.
do
There's
this
no
shit.
guarantee that you're gonna get paid, right?
Well, you're the only guarantee. You're the only thing you can trust. You're the only thing you can believe in, and it's really hard to believe in yourself, like
Yeah,
fully, because nobody thought I could do this. Like, I mean, I had people say, "Yeah, that's a good idea," but nobody, it's like I wasn't relying on my parents, telling me that like this is a good career move. I wasn't relying on my peers who like making music, but only for fun. You can't rely on anybody.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part is when you're looking for guidance, you have to like, nobody's going to jump out and guide you. You have to like seek the guidance. You have to like find mentors. They don't just come for you. So like I have mentors. I have people who I look up to and I ask for advice and who kind of show me how to do things. But I had to put myself in front of them in order for them to see me. They didn't just see me, you know? Where it's like if you're working for a company, they're looking at you and they're like hovering over you. They're giving you tasks. They're telling you what to do, when to do it, how long to do it, and when not to do it. So it's like you have so much freedom in actually, having limitations with like a normal 9 to 5 job is because so much of the work is mental. Is like, you know, like where are you putting your mind? That's the hardest part as an independent artist. It's not doing the work. It's like what work to do and when to do it and how long to do it and when to stop. Those are the challenges I have.
Who are some of these people that are mentors? Are they in the music industry or are they just like family friends?
Um, yeah, I have people I look up to for creative advice. Yeah, some of them are musicians and other artists and friends. Most of them are friends now. Yeah, I guess I try to follow like what's working for people, and I've had a lot of people just teach me things, whether it's people I'm on the road with, like traveling with, or um, various masters of craft. People who have just like been studying, even things that I'm not doing, but that can apply to all things. Like I have a friend, um, his name is Eugene Friesen, and he's a cello player, but he teaches and he's played all around the world, and he's kind of like the best cello player ever. And he's just an incredible guy. And like I remember, a few years ago, I went to some workshops with him where I did some performance and some freestyling with him, and we've collaborated over the years. And just seeing how he approaches music and improv and how he approaches like collaborations has been such a gift that I've been able to translate into my world of music and bring with me to different places.
How old were you when you put your first song out there, like your first public song?
My first public song, oh
Yeah.
geez.
This like middle school
Uh,
days or
um, well, I'm 28 right now. So when I was in middle school, there wasn't the internet. Like people didn't just, there was like the internet, but not the way it is now. Um, we had we had like Napster, like AOL Messenger, but YouTube wasn't around, and there's definitely no Spotify or SoundCloud, or no one could just put up music. You couldn't just put something on the internet. That's the wild thing about the internet is that like it used to be like cable television where you just watch it. Whatever's on it is on it. You couldn't control it. Um, so my first public thing I put out, I think I was 19.
19?
I recorded with this band called The Substance. They were these amazing um, guys. They're all like in their 50s, and they were like construction workers, but they also played in this awesome funk jazz band, and they were amazing. And they were friends of my dad's. And I went to one of their band practices one day, and they all knew I could rap. So they're like, "Hey, why don't you rap on a song with us?" And I did, and they loved it. And then I booked us some recording time, and then I recorded a couple songs with them. So So that was like 10 years ago. I put my first song out like 10 years ago. But then I didn't, then I just bumbled around. I didn't really take it serious until I was like 23.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask because that's like a 8 year difference between then and when you started doing it full time and making it your
Yeah.
full time income.
Yeah. I mean, I was still a kid. I was still like,
Having fun or having fun or doing dumb stuff, one or the
I'm
other.
still doing dumb. I'm still having fun and doing dumb stuff. Um, but I didn't think I wasn't even, it's just I was really into visual art at that time. I was like screen printing my own shirts, creating
Okay.
my own like art, like visual art, skateboarding a lot. I wanted to be a tattoo artist. I wanted to, I had a lot of different creative ideas, and music was just um, one of them.
Have you ever done tattoos? Have you done any tattoos on anyone?
Um, One time, my stepdad let me do like an inch of a tattoo. Like there was like a line, and he like let me do a little bit, but I was like 14 at the time. I don't really remember it, but I remember like it was scary, and I never touched the tattoo gun after that.
And you don't have any, I'm guessing.
Oh, I have a bunch of tattoos, yeah, but I wouldn't be a tattoo. I wouldn't be a tattoo artist though. I respect it, but it's not my.
So one of your songs, the song that I first listened to that I came across that was yours is "I'm Not for Everyone," and on Spotify it has a pretty big, what is it? I think right now, last time I looked, it was like 230K people that have listened to it. Is that like validating and reassuring after having been in, I'm sure in situations it just feels like no one is accepting what you're creating. When you create something like that that people really uh, accept, how does that feel?
I mean, that feels great. Yeah, I love what you just said. Um, Definitely touches on like anytime I can make like anytime I can connect with someone through my art, um, feels really good. Like when I pay attention to it, when I give it, when I'm present with that, I feel really good. But again, the number takes away from the individual. Like I try not to let those numbers change the way I feel, but instead, you know, think about when someone reaches out to me, on Instagram and it's like, oh my God, I found your music. It makes me feel this and that. Thank you so much. That interaction means more to me than no matter how many people have heard it or listened to it. It's just like the engagement part
That
is the
personal
most important.
connection.
Yeah, and like, yeah, it's really cool that that song resonates with people and that it kind of it trickled inside of the network of algorithm. But it's like I've been putting out songs for years. Like, does that one song matter more to me because more people listen to it? No, that song doesn't mean more to me than the stuff I did before it or the stuff I'm doing after it. Um, I guess it's cool that people are discovering it without like the idea of discovery is still a mystery because I have nothing to do with discovery. I have no way of like gauging how somebody finds something because when I promote something, mostly the people who already know me are going to see it,
Yeah.
so there's no discovery there. So the fact that one song got discovered by more people, it's really cool, but I can't be proud of it because I had nothing to do with that. Like I'm just going to keep making music and it's great if people, a lot more people start listening or not, but it's hard to take pride in that. Like when I throw an album release show, and 80 people come just to see me, that I feel proud of. That's different, that I had control of. That's something that I attracted, and and that was my doing. But if 200,000 people find my song on Spotify, it's hard to take ownership of that, because if I could control that, then all of my songs would have that many listen. You know what I mean? Like I would show all of my music to that many people.
Yeah.
But that's the mystery, is like I don't really get it. I don't know why that I don't know why that song did is doing better than all of my previous or future releases so far. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting concept, because for a business it's like, let's talk to our customers, let's get reviews and get feedback and figure out what it was that they liked. For an artist,
Well,
like how do you do that? Do you just, I guess there's
well, it's not. Again, it's not like it's not that 200,000 people like my song and then 200,000 people don't like the other ones.
yeah.
If they didn't hear the other ones, they heard that one, and then that's where I get feedback. That's where people start resonating or not. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to talk about algorithm for another hour, but essentially, it's like exposure right now is like an opportunity. It's not guaranteed, but it is an opportunity. If you can get 1 million people to hear your song, that exposure is an opportunity for 10 new fans or 10,000 or 100,000 or 1 million new fans. The opportunity is there. Um, whereas if 1 million people don't hear your songs, then that opportunity isn't there anymore. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's weird when you talk about like, oh, this one resonated with the most people. Well, it only resonated with the most people because it was heard by the
It
most
got the
amount
most
of
reach.
people.
Yeah.
It had the most reach, right? So I've had other people reach out to me about songs, that aren't even on Spotify, that are only on my Bandcamp, right? Or songs that they heard 10 years ago. So it's like those connections I can measure, I can quantify that. I'm like, oh, wow, I saw that person at a show and that affected their life. Like they are still they're connecting to me because they had this moment that meant something to them. So to me, that's more important. That's a long way of saying that, but like, yeah, to me, the individual people reaching out or validating that like what I'm doing is like serving other people, that means the most to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like what I need to do is have someone from Spotify algorithms on here and figure out how that how that discovery algorithm works.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to know how that works.
What was your process like for that song, I Am Not For Everyone? Was there
That was
something?
that was like an extra song for the album. I was working on Not Dead Yet, which is my album I put out in 2018. Um, and I was almost done. We were like working on one of the last songs, and the way I did it, I worked with my friend Paul. He goes by What's Up Paul,
What's up,
and
Paul?
he What's Up Paul used to be Polly Beats, but he changed his name. And he's like the engineer. He was like making beats. He co-produced it, so like he produced half the songs and I produced half, and we like work together every week. And he's the one who does all of the machine stuff. Like he makes the beats. I play instruments. Um, but he left to like I don't know. He just like left the room for a minute, and I just sat down and just started playing on his beat machine. I made that beat probably 10 minutes, and then he came back and was like, "Oh, that's sweet." And then he like put it on a loop, and then I started freestyling on the mic, and then we recorded some of that, and then I like wrote some things down. We recorded that song in probably under an hour.
That's
Made the
crazy.
beat, wrote it, recorded it right there, and it was kind of a last minute like free verse um, thing. And then I had my friend Hannah come over, Hannah Harleen, like a couple weeks later to sing the hook with me and to do the dum 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 da dum
Yeah,
dum
it's dope.
dum. Yeah, she had these like cool little melodies, and I just told her what I wanted. I was like, just we're gonna sing this here, and then we're gonna yell it at each other, and then we're gonna just kind of like on the fly. So yeah, that song was an afterthought. It wasn't even an intentional like put a lot of work into it. It was very just thrown together last minute compared to the other songs, which took like months and months to like structure and write and record.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of time
yeah,
and
that was
effort.
that one was like the least amount of effort and the most it bared the most fruit.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. You hear that a lot about songs, and artists will say stuff like that, like I just threw this together, and that's like their big song that helped them, get a lot of exposure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw the music video, but
What? No, I haven't seen a music video. I didn't know there was
the
one.
music video was a huge ordeal. That was like
Oh my gosh.
a lot of work. Yeah, the video is like a short film. It's sort of a micro like horror film,
Oh,
and that took a lot of work from me. Mostly my director though, who directed the video and like helped. He spent a lot of time on it. We had a ton of volunteers show up, and we did it in a grocery store, which we had to get permission to be in a grocery store for 6 hours.
did you end up paying that director, or was that how? What was that deal
Yeah,
structured like?
yeah, yeah. I've been working with the same guy for some years now, and yeah, he's amazing. His company is called King City Productions. He's my friend Ellis, and we work together. We've been working on projects together. I think this will be our fourth year together. So
Nice, nice. Yeah,
yeah, he's kind of like really straight to the point, very like organized and thoughtful and strategic. And I'm kind of more spontaneous, and I'll like spit 1,000 ideas at him, and he'll like narrow it down to like 10 really good ones. And then we work together. I think, yeah, it's great developing that sort of like partnership with art because I have a lot of ideas that I don't execute or that I can't execute on my own, but to have someone else who can, it's a great like exchange between both of us.
that's pretty dope, man. I gotta check out that music video.
Yeah, yeah, the music video was a lot of fun and took a lot of work. That was like, yeah, months and months of work. So
What was the filming like? Was it like filming was months and months of work? Filming over a few months?
no, we filmed it all in one day,
One day?
but the like planning it,
Preparation. Yeah.
getting everybody down to do it, the editing, the release, the promo, the press, like all of that was,
Oh, it
you know,
sounds stressful.
yeah. I mean, I
Long
love it
process.
though. It's
Yeah.
also like, it's cool because I don't, when I hear my music, I always envision it being seen, um, like having sort of like multiple things going on at once. Telling stories with the songs, but also showing like visual emotions. So yeah, songwriting and making films are definitely connected for me right now.
Wait, making films? So you're also into filmmaking a little bit, like aside from music, just films?
Oh no, I mean like
Oh, okay, okay.
co-directing, like being a assistant director of the music
Mm-hmm.
video films. I call them films because they're not just like me performing in front of a camera typically. They're a little more like there's more context and uh,
Yeah,
different
yeah, it's
things.
definitely a film.
Yeah.
I know you're still early on in your career, but what's the biggest challenge that you faced so far for your music career? What's been the most difficult? I mean, it seems like it's probably this year, not being able
Yeah.
to go tour after you just had a really good year. I'm guessing you wanted to like continue that.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year was the best year of my life.
Oh man,
And
that's tough to
like I
go
felt
from so good to so bad.
I felt like an indie superhero. I felt like I could do anything. I mean, yeah, it's wild. I was in an opera. I performed a part of an opera. I did these like intensive like cello camps. I, you know, performed at colleges, at high schools. theaters, house concerts, backyard concerts, big festivals. Yeah, I did so many things. Um, and but before that, I guess the challenge was just like believing that it's possible. I for so many years I just went to open mics a lot, and would perform for 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, and um, and it was hard. Like learning how to perform is really hard. It takes a lot of trial and error. You have to like suck for a long time before you're gonna be good.
Yeah.
And I think just like getting comfortable sucking at something, like being terrible at something over and over again until you start to like develop a skill and start to feel growing pains and start to understand like the psychology of why I'm doing it and what it's doing for me and how it's affecting other people. Um, so then then I got to a point of comfort where I felt like, oh, I'm doing this and this is comfortable and I know how to do this. Like, so now, then I got to a point where I felt really comfortable. And so now, then the challenge is how to, um, how to stay grounded, how to stay like persistent and, you know, develop a new identity because as the world is changing, we are responsible for changing as well, and that can mean um, certain habits or rituals. I've been trying to develop since the lack of touring. I've been trying to develop like a meditation practice. Uh, I've been taking piano lessons. I've been trying to work out every day, trying to exercise and go outside every day, eating healthier food, like the whole self-help book you can think of, all the things, and trying to actually build routine in those things that I suck at. And it's like performing again. It's like starting all over because I was really good at something and then I started trying to like recenter and try these new things out again, and I'm really bad at them and it's hard. It's hard to stay healthy and to feel good in my head all the time. And the state of the world doesn't help. The state of politics doesn't help. I do a lot of activist work. I work in prisons. I work in recovery centers, um, and people are hurting right now more than ever. And as an empath, I'm feeling all that, trying to process all that, and I feel like my form of therapy has been taken away from me. My form of like building community with people all around has been taken away from me. So the struggle right now is believing in it and believing that what I'm doing is important still, and that things will get better and things will keep moving forward and they will evolve and change. But um, yeah, that's the struggle.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, I don't know if that's too abstract. It's not like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing. It's a weird
It
life.
definitely makes sense. It's essentially like your coping mechanism and your way of bringing people together has been taken away from you.
Yeah, but doing stuff like this and Zoom concerts or workshops or ways to connect to people digitally does help. It is a form of communication that's better than complete isolation for me.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely tough, man. Everyone's trying to survive and just trying to survive right now. Hang in there as long as we
Yeah,
can. I
yeah,
don't know when things are gonna get better, and yeah, I'm going crazy over here too.
yeah.
So, what are you working on now? Do you have anything in the works right now?
I do.
Is it an album, a single?
Um,
Can't
I've
say.
got I've got so many things in the work. All right, so I haven't. said much about this, but I do have an album coming out December 1st.
Okay.
It'll be my first solo album since 2018, so that's been almost 3 years since I put out a solo record. Yeah, so December 1st, I got a new record coming
Is
out.
there is there some inspiration behind it or a theme behind it or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a grieving album. It's an album about like coming to terms with loss and identity um, and trying to uncover this like pain and like loneliness, but also like embrace it in a way that feels like being confronted, you know, like really interrogating the insides
Oh man,
for transformation, I
I'm
guess.
definitely excited to hear that. I mean, that's why I like your music is because I feel like you're really putting your emotions out there, and right now with everything going on, I think that sounds like something I definitely want to listen to. Like, I can imagine
Yeah,
how you're feeling, and just it sounds like it's gonna be really good.
it's different. It's yeah, thank you. It's gonna be a different record for me. A lot of it's acoustic. Um,
Okay.
there's a little more singing on it than usual, and yeah, it's definitely a storytelling album in that sense.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
But yeah,
that.
yeah, December 1st,
Dope, man.
record will be out. I'll be putting it on vinyl and cassette, um, and I'll probably do some sort of show at some point. But yeah, I'm really pumped for that.
And do you have anyone that you want to collaborate with? Like, is there any artists that you've been thinking about that I know you've done some collaborations. You just did one with Sweet Dreams, right?
Yeah, Sweet Dreams. I collaborated with my friend Emily Bodley.
That
She's
was pretty
amazing.
dope. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, she's so good. Yeah, I have so many. There's so many people I want to collaborate with. I really like Watsky. Have you ever
Watsky.
heard Watsky?
I,
George Watsky.
no, no.
I like Watsky a lot. I've been listening to his stuff. I love Saul Williams. Do you know Saul Williams? He's a poet.
No.
I love Regina Spektor. Do you know Regina Spektor?
Oh my gosh, you're embarrassing me, man.
Okay. Fiona Apple.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. No, I don't know any of these people. Are these all poets, or what kind of music are they into?
All over the place. What do you listen to?
Um, Whatever Spotify brings me recently over the past year or
Wow.
two. I haven't been too like it's a lot of searching for new releases, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't been doing too much like searching recently. A lot of alternative though, I would say.
Have you heard? Have you ever heard of No Name?
It sounds familiar. No name.
Yeah, No Name or Tarawak. You know Tarawak?
Kerouac. Uh, no, no, I don't.
Oh, wow. Maybe these people are old now. I
Oh
feel like
man,
they're new artists, but maybe they're old now. I don't know what is new anymore.
I guess I gotta go. And I know. I think I'm just not up to date, man. Awesome. Well, man, I've had a good time talking with you. I just have a few questions before we wrap up. A few a little bit more. The first one is, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
Oh man, my 16-year-old self. Wow. I have a really difficult relationship with my 16-year-old self,
Okay,
but
so you got some good advice then.
yeah, I think I would tell myself to. I would instead of what I would tell myself, I would just hang out with myself and listen to what myself needed, and I would support myself. I would give myself like full acceptance and love for whoever I was at that point, and let them know that I'll always be there for them. Because often advice doesn't actually help. Often being heard and being seen and being in a space where someone can feel safe enough to be vulnerable is way more effective than telling someone what they should or shouldn't do. So I think I would just sit with myself and like skateboard with myself and and listen to music with myself and talk philosophy with myself. But I wouldn't tell that 16-year-old what they should or shouldn't do. I would listen to what they need.
All right, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie this week?
Any time.
Anytime? Okay. I'm gonna have to give you a few. I just watched the animated Alice in Wonderland on VHS recently. It's not my favorite movie, but it's really cool and interesting and beautiful and wacky and unusual. So I like that. That was fun. Favorite movie?
What kind of stuff are you into? Do you watch like action, comedy, drama?
I've been really into cartoons. I like Adventure Time. I like Steven Universe. Uh, yeah, I like cartoons. I like animated um, shows and things like that.
Do you watch South Park at all?
I do. Yeah,
Have you
South Park is great.
have you seen the I think it's called the Pandemic Special? The
Yeah,
new one they
I
just
saw that.
released. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I
Yeah,
haven't seen South Park in years, but that was pretty funny to watch.
I started watching South Park when I was like 10, so I've had it in my life forever.
Yeah,
It's like an uncle to me now. It's like such a nostalgic
part of life. Yeah.
characters and scene development. Yeah, I like cartoons. I like documentaries. I like nature films, like Planet Earth type stuff. Where you like learn about animals and different landscapes around the world. Uh, I like the film 13th. Have you seen that film?
13. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely seen that one. Yeah, it's an older
13th.
one.
It's a documentary.
Oh, 13th.
Yeah, 13th. It's about the 13th Amendment.
Oh no, no, I haven't seen that.
So, do you know what the 13th Amendment is?
No.
It's essentially an amendment that was written that legalizes slavery if somebody has done a crime. If somebody is you know is arrested for a crime, then slavery becomes legal. So it says, slavery will be abolished and is not legal unless the person is convicted of a crime. Like that's written into the amendments. So this documentary kind of talks about how slavery, ended, and then segregation began, and then during segregation, um, began this like blowout of like the prison industrial complex, where prisons like multiplied by like I don't know hundreds of thousands of prisons just started growing out of the ground. People started building prisons and arresting more people and making drugs illegal, making being poor illegal, all of these things, and they were going into poor neighborhoods and essentially taking people from poor neighborhoods and making them illegal, arresting them and putting them in prison. And then prison labor had a huge boom where corporations were getting free labor from people in prison in order to cut down their sentence time. So people were working, being held against their will for a crime, nonviolent crimes usually, and they were working for corporations to make billions of dollars off of their free labor, which is essentially slavery.
That sounds like America. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 13th is a
That's
great, great
America.
documentary. It's really well done and talks about like a lot of history and how this society was built and how it continues to function based on those principles. But yeah, I recommend that. If anyone's listening to this who hasn't seen 13th, you should watch it. It's good.
Yeah, I'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes.
Sweet.
What's your favorite takeout restaurant, and what do you get from there?
My favorite restaurant? Well, you probably are not gonna know any of them because I'm a local guy, Portland, Maine, over here. Um, my favorite restaurant right now. Sad thing is, a lot of them have closed.
Oh man, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure if they're smaller, they're struggling right now.
yeah, it's been hard for a lot of places, but I've been getting breakfast sandwiches at this place called Katie Made Bakery, and Katie is this woman who has a bakery. It's this tiny little. It's like the size of like a two-car garage, like really small building that she makes pastries and pies and cakes and things, and they also make breakfast sandwiches. And it's like a 5-minute walk from my house, so I get breakfast there sometimes, and that's probably my favorite. I love breakfast sandwiches. I'm a sucker.
All right, what's something you've always wanted to try but never have?
Something I've always wanted to what?
Something you've always wanted to try but never have.
Oh, that's a good one. Uh, I've always wanted to try. I've always wanted to speak another language fluently, and I've dabbled with like Spanish and German and French, but so sparsely that I haven't retained any of it. So I think like zooming in on a language and thinking Spanish because there's a woman who owns this tea shop down the road from me who speaks Spanish fluently, and she used to teach in Spain. But she has a tea shop here, and she told me that I could practice with her anytime. So I'm kind of just like working up the nerve to just like put it into my schedule. Like every Saturday, I go and have tea and talk Spanish. Just like learn it with somebody. So yeah, I think like learning another language is something I've always thought about, but I never put the energy into actually learning.
So yeah, I'm also trying to learn Spanish too. I'm Mexican and I don't know Spanish. But yeah, I've always wanted to learn. I just found this Chrome extension recently. If you use your computer a lot, you should check it out. It's called Join Toucan, like Toucan the bird. But you can install it pretty easily, and it will like as you're scrolling through web pages, it'll just change words for you, and like you're reading English and Spanish mixed together, and it's supposed to help you pick it up easier. Um,
Whoa, that's so cool.
yeah, I just started using it like a few days ago, but it's been pretty cool so far.
Wow, that seems really applicable. It seems like you're going to be on your phone or on your screen all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You might as well be
Yeah, and
learning.
they've got like Spanish and French, German, all a few of the big ones.
Cool.
Cool. Well, I've had a lot of fun talking with you. Do you have anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Um, yeah, I hope you have a good day, Randy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, everyone. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Disrupting Every, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. See you next time.